Part 23. I have the option of love in the starry sky. Author, Lao Cha Shugu. Chapter 221. Sorry, I can't calm down. March 7th raised her head, stared at him with blurred eyes, and said, "Stop struggling, Bo Chang, struggling is useless, just obey me obediently." This sudden heavy rain was simply the best cover-up. No matter how loud Yu Chi and Bo Chang made in the room, they would be blocked by the sound of rain and thunder and not much would be leaked. Bo Chang was very sure that he did not use I love a firewood on the pink-haired girl, nor did he use electric eyes on her. How could things develop like this? So, what's the situation now? A green kiss, sweet and sour. March 7th clumsily asked for everything he wanted. The pink-haired girl is different from Hoshi. One is active, the other is vaguely passive. She works so hard. Bo Chang looked at March 7th, who acted arbitrarily towards him. Don't know what to do at all. Love options, there is no sign of jumping out at all. Not taking the initiative and not refusing is Bo Chang's current state. Time passed slowly. The situation has not changed. Was divided wire. The night becomes darker. The heavy rain continued, and the pedestrians on the street had long since disappeared without a trace. Only flowers, plants, and trees were left isolated in the streets and alleys. The originally lively square also turned into a paradise of water. Yuchin Inn is brightly lit. Bo Chang didn't know how long he had been intimate with March 7th. All in all, the sudden ringing of a mobile phone interrupted their movements. March 7th Saturday up and looked at Bo Chang's cell phone beside the bed. Her ferry boat-style pajamas had fallen to her waist. Lying underneath, Bo Chang could enjoy the beautiful scenery unobstructed. Someone messaged me. Bo Chang stretched out his hand to get his cell phone, but March 7th stopped him and said, "Don't worry about those little things, let's continue." Saying. March 7th grabbed Bo Chang's hand and put it on his waist again. The pink-haired girl pressed forward again. Bo Chang's mouth was blocked again. "Mituki, I seem to like this action quite a lot, but I like to be on top." Bo Chang muttered in his heart. If he picked up his phone now, he would definitely see the message lighting up on the screen. Seeing, Bo Chang, are you asleep? What are you doing? Star, I miss you. Seeing, if you are not asleep, can I come over to you? These messages are destined to go unanswered. After waiting for a long time, there was no response. Seeing, who thought Bo Chang had fallen asleep, fell asleep again with an uneasy mood. She fell asleep with the sound of rain, and her heart gradually became peaceful. Early the next morning, Bo Chang opened his eyes. He looked at the pink-haired girl beside him and couldn't help but press his forehead gently, thinking, now, it seems like there's a bit of trouble. Under the initiative of March 7th, Bo Chang did many things passively. I also learned more about the pink-haired girl's body. For example, March 7th prefers Bo Chang holding her waist. Forget it, the boat will straighten out when it reaches the bridge. Let's just take it one step at a time. Bo Chang had no idea of resisting last night. He allowed March 7th, who had gained knowledge in this area, to operate. The two did not make it to the last step. Just used something else. Was divided by end wire. March, wake up quickly, don't sleep anymore. Bo Chang pushed the sleeping pink-haired girl. March 7th rubbed his eyes and said, "It's so early in the morning, what are you doing? Wait, why, oh." March Chi, who was originally a little nervous, suddenly relaxed when he thought of something. Bo Chang shook his head slightly. "You shouldn't pretend that nothing happened." March 7th Saturday up and looked into Bo Chang's eyes and said, "Don't worry, I will be responsible for you." Shouldn't it be me saying this to you? Bo Chang was a little confused about March Chi's brain circuit. Her face was slightly red, and she was holding a quilt to cover her body to prevent her beauty from being exposed. It looks like. March 7th felt like she was holding on, maybe she was too shy now. The mind is very confused. That's why I said this. The pink-haired girl lowered her head and said, I'm going to get dressed and go back. Well, then you can wear it. Turn around. We have made it this far, do I still need to turn around? March, you. March 7th pushed Bo Chang angrily and said, turn around if I ask you to. Is it the same at night as during the day? I will be very shy if you look at me like this. Okay, March, I will listen to you. Bo Chang sighed. Turn around. Listening to the rustling sounds behind him, Bo Chang felt another commotion in his heart. I can't help but recall the beauty of last night. March 7th put on her clothes and walked out of bed, her slender legs flashing by her side. She turned back to look at Bo Chang and said, what happened last night is a secret between the two of us. You are the most important person, it's better not to tell anyone. Hear this. Bo Chang slowly typed out a question mark, and he was filled with words that he didn't know where to start from. Chapter 262, Nature is hard to change. I should be the one to say this. Bo Chang couldn't help but roll his eyes. March 7th just snorted and said, I'm leaving. I'll see you later. While everyone hasn't gotten up yet. March 7th left Bo Chang's room in a swaggering manner. The calm pink-haired girl began to lose her composure after walking out of the room. She quickly returned to her room, closed the door, sat on a chair, and leaned down on the table, her whole body paralyzed. Well, I did something like that when my brain got hot, I'm so embarrassed. March 7th felt like she was almost too embarrassed to see anyone. Bai Lu, who was lying on her side, slowly opened her eyes and said, March, why are you lying on the table? No. It's nothing. March 7th shook her head in panic. Bai Lu, could he have noticed that I wasn't in the room last night? No. She probably didn't notice, otherwise she would have started making a fuss long ago. The little Lolita of the dragon tribe looked at March Chi's expression and was a little confused for a moment. But Bai Lu didn't think too much. So far, Bo Chang still felt a little unbelievable that he was forcibly molested by March 7th like this, as if he was dreaming. He reached out and patted his face. Ba Kame said, I didn't expect March to have such a bold side. It seems that she has been holding it in for a long time. Plus, Seeing and I were together yesterday, which stimulated her, so. In the past, Bo often went to eat March 7th tofu. Now he is being eaten in reverse. It feels pretty good, but Bo Chang still has more to say. At this time, Bo Chang picked up his phone and saw the message Seeing sent him last night. He was silent for a few seconds, suppressing his inner emotions. Bo Chang typed, Seeing, are you awake? Bo Chang, why did you sleep so late last night? Bo Chang, are you suffering from insomnia? When replying, Bo Chang deliberately avoided some questions. The wait didn't take long. Seeing Hui said, I just woke up. I didn't sleep very late last night, but I was woken up by the thunder, so I want to ask you. Seeing, I don't have insomnia either, don't worry. Bo Chang, that's it, do you want to have breakfast together? Star, okay. Bo Chang, then I will come out to find you. Let's talk here. Bo Chang put away his mobile phone and got up to change clothes. Seeing Jen did the same. The two walked out of the room almost at the same time. I have the option of love in the starry sky. Author, Lao Cha Shugu. Chapter 222. Look at each other and smile. Bo Chang's face didn't turn red and his heart didn't beat. Good morning. Seeing said directly, Bo Chang, do you want to invite others to have breakfast together? Breakfast? Add me. March 7th opened the door and walked out. Behind the pink-haired girl was the sleepy Bailu, who was rubbing her eyes. When Seeing saw them, he greeted them in a friendly way and said, You, Bailu, you are all up. It rained heavily last night, did you hear the thunder? I heard it. March 7 nodded. For some reason, Mr. Seeing felt that the pink-haired girl's expression was a bit unnatural. Am I overthinking it? Bo Chang quickly smoothed things over and said, then wake up everyone else. During the conversation, Zillowa, Dan Hung, and others also came out one by one. Everyone went out and had a delicious breakfast together. And then, another day of separate operations. Bo Chang decided to rest at home. On March 7, both Seeing and Bailu were captured, saying they wanted to go out on a mission together. Bo Chang knew. March 7 is just to prevent Seeing from making mischief again. Play the world of two secretly. Bo Chang watched everyone leave, and then returned to Yuchen in alone. There is currently only one fox waiter in the lobby on the first floor who is slowly cleaning. Bo Chang ignored it. He walked to the second floor and woke up the robot squatting in the corner, Pascal. Master, do you need any help? The tall-looking grizzly robot makes electronic sounds. Over time, Pascal's intellectual level has also improved considerably. Speaking now is not like before, it takes a long time to speak. Bo Chang said, come in with me. If anyone comes to see me next, tell them that I am very busy. In short, don't let strangers approach me. Instruction received by Pascal and being executed. Under the leadership of Bo Chang, the huge robot entered the room. Next, Bo Chang sat cross-legged on the bed. His consciousness sank into the spiritual world and he saw the blue flame. Huan Hu's current state is much better than before. But still no sign of regaining consciousness. Bo Chang could completely sense this. Huan Wu was seriously injured and was still in a coma. If he was allowed to recover on his own, God knows how long. So Bo Chang decided to intervene personally. Use the power of the sheep talisman to nourish Huan Hu's body and help it recover as soon as possible. Watching the green flame swallow up the magic power of the green sheep spell bit by bit, and slowly grow bigger, Bo Chang felt like he was feeding small animals. Why do you have this inexplicable sense of accomplishment? Bo Chang muttered in his heart. The magic power of the sheep talisman is continuously supplied, and Huan Hui is like a bottomless pit, devouring it crazily. Hours are from morning to noon. Bo Chang Jiun nursed him for several hours, but Huan Hui still showed no sign of waking up naturally. Unless there is a strong external stimulus, the Lord of Extermination will probably not be able to wake up for the time being. Bo Chang has no intention of forcing the other party to wake up, but continue to cultivate it. Indoors, Sophia saw Bo Chang motionless, so she crawled out of Pascal's body curiously. Yelled once or twice. After discovering that Bo Chang was completely unresponsive, Sophia climbed onto the bed, and then climbed up little by little along Bo Chang's clothes. Soon we arrived at our destination. Sitting on her shoulder, Sophia thought to herself, no matter what I do now, does he still not respond? Thinking this, Sophia smiled evilly. It feels like time is almost up. Bo Chang opened his eyes, and the robot Pascal was watching over him dutifully. Sophia left the robot at some point. He was sitting on Bo Chang's shoulder. Seeing that the other party woke up, Sophia wanted to run, but was caught by Bo Chang. Why are you climbing on my shoulders? Bo Chang grabbed the foul-mouthed Sophia with one hand and put her in front of him. Big eyes stare at small eyes. Sophia struggled and replied, don't grab this princess like this. It's very rude, you know. Okay, I haven't paid attention to you for a while. You didn't even call me master. Do you need to take care of me? Bo Chang reached out and poked Sophia's little face. Due to the escalation of the battle situation in Luofu Immortal Boat, Carrying Pascal and Sophia was too much. Therefore, BasedonaVideoGame spent most of his time freeing himself up and rarely took care of the two of them. As a robot, Pascal is naturally nothing. Sophia had a slight change, her attitude towards BasedonaVideoGame became a bit worse, and she was not as respectful as before. Certainly. This is actually Sophia's true nature. As the saying goes, it is easy to change a country if it is well received, but it is hard to change one's nature. BasedonaVideoGame felt that Sophia needed a little lesson. I advise you to be nice to me. I saw everything that happened last night, BasedonaVideoGame, you don't want Scene to know that you slept with March Chi all night. Sophia stared at BasedonaVideoGame without showing any signs of weakness. She looked like she had not been in bed for 3 days. His face changed slightly. BasedonaVideoGame said, so you saw it all, that's right, you don't need to sleep, it's normal to see something you shouldn't see at night, but do you think you can threaten me like this? Sophia, you are too naive. It just so happens that I got a new skill, why not try it on you? BasedonaVideoGame closed his eyes. Then he suddenly opened them again. Electric eyes are compelling. Activate. A pink electric wave that is invisible to the naked eye shot out of his eyes. It hit Sophia's eyes directly. At that moment, a strange feeling surged in my heart. Sophia, who originally wanted to say a few words, couldn't say a word, and her whole body was numb. In her eyes, BasedonaVideoGame seemed to have added a layer of filter, and the whole person became a lot more handsome out of thin air. So weird, take another look. JPG. Why, I feel weird in my body, and his face, doesn't seem right either. Sophia forced her eyes away. BasedonaVideoGame thought to himself, the electric eyes can make people enter that state. Sophia is just a doll, so will it work? It seems, after being resurrected by the rat spell, she is also a living thing. Well, this effect seems to be quite strong. If it is used in battle, maybe it can reverse the situation. Through the skin on his hands and the other party's expression, BasedonaVideoGame can clearly sense it. Sophia has already done that. The little face is red and the body twists unnaturally. What did you do to me? Don't, I was just joking just now, master, don't do this. Sophia's eyes are full of tears. BasedonaVideoGame casually rubbed her little head and said, hee, now you know you are afraid, Sophia, don't think about overthrowing the superior in your life, otherwise you will be the only one who gets hurt in the end. I know, let me go, master, I can't stand it. Seeing this, BasedonaVideoGame put Sophia on the ground and she ran away. Returned to Pascal's body and hid. Never dare to come out again. You are still a little naive to play with me. BasedonaVideoGame was not worried about Sophia's nonsense. After all, Sophia's life and property were all in BasedonaVideoGame's hands. Her behavior was just like Kinkei's to Fuxian, an egg hitting a stone. It couldn't have any effect. He stretched his waist. When BasedonaVideoGame was about to go out for dinner, he found a new message on his phone. The sender was Fuxian. Looking at the shocking words, BasedonaVideoGame's pupils trembled slightly, and said, Ting Yun is really dead, the Yunkihun only found the relics, no way, she died so easily. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I have the option of Love in the Starry Sky. Author, Lao Cha Shugu. Chapter 223. No, I still have to ask Huan how. BasedonaVideoGame took a deep breath. He decided not to eat for the time being, wake up Huan Wu, and then ask her about Ting Yun's whereabouts. Anyway, I have been cultivating it for a while. Now BasedonaVideoGame also has the ability to force people with electric eyes. It will definitely torture Huan Chiu to the point of ecstasy, but he is not afraid that she will not do it. Chapter 263 News about Ting Yun. I originally heard that Huanlong was planning to make a deal with him. Bo Chang also felt that Tingyun might not be dead. Putting hope on Luo Fuxianzhou, Fu Xian now sent a message saying that Miss Fox's relics had been found. So, going round and round, Bo Chang could only place his hope on Huanlong. Sit back on the bed. Bo Chang glanced at the water stains left by Sophia on the ground and thought to himself, the power of the electric eyes is very powerful, but, can this still be effective in my spiritual world? Think about it. Bo Chang decided to give it a try. He thought there should be no problem. Close your eyes. Bo Chang's consciousness entered his spiritual world again. If it was a long time ago, Bo Chang definitely couldn't enter that space so easily. But, after Huanhu enters the body, Bo Chang entered his own spiritual world as easily as drinking water. Watching the blue flame grow a lot bigger, Bo Chang used the large formation set up by Fu Xian. Forcefully wake it up. Huanlu made a painful sound and said, "You, what are you doing? Let me ask you one last time, where is Xingyun?" Bo Chang looked at Huanlu indifferently. Seeing the serious expression and the cold voice, the Lord of Extermination felt a little nervous. Damn it, why is he so strong all of a sudden? Could it be Tingyun's problem? Damn it, I wanted to hide it for a while longer. The phantom mental activity is very strong. Ba Kame said, "Don't tell me. Then just try this trick." Eyes facing each other. A pink light invisible to the naked eye fell into the cyan flame. Well, this is. The hazy voice suddenly changed. Bo Chang can also confirm that after entering the spiritual world, the electric eye is still applicable. A very strange feeling spread in my heart. Huanwu was certain that he had never had such an emotion before. What did he do to me? Originally, Huanwu thought that Bo Chang would activate the formation carved by Fu Xian to deal with her. I didn't expect it to be a move I had never heard of before. This is a little troublesome. Bo Chang knew that Huanlu was surprised, and he would not activate the formation to punish him. Joke. Huanhu's next step was Bo Chang's backup hidden energy. It took him half a day to restore some of his strength. If he was punished again, wouldn't the efforts he made in the morning be in vain? After all, the formation carved by Fu Xian would cause harm to Huanhu with every punishment. Recuperate when the time comes. It would only make Bo Chang spend more time. This is also the reason why Huanhu was so confident before. And now, Bo Chang has an electric eye that is very striking. Directly letting Huanlu go into heat would not cause much damage to her body, but would torture her mentally more. Certainly. Huanjiu is in bad shape now. Even if the electric eye is powerful, it cannot be used too many times. Otherwise, I am really afraid that this guy will just GG. I feel so uncomfortable, so strange. The green flame kept struggling in the magic power of the sheep spell. Bo Chang just looked at Huanlu silently. Within a moment, the coquettish blue flame sprayed out blue plasma. Just like the water stain Sophia left on the ground. Regarding how long the electric eyes can last, Bo Chang didn't know either, and now was the perfect time to observe. What on earth have you done to me? Don't continue, I'll do it all. Huanwu, feeling ashamed and angry, persisted for less than 3 minutes before he began to beg for mercy. Ba Kame said, "Tell me. Tingyun was injured by me and thrown to the planet named Yali Luo 6. Now I don't know if she is still alive." Huanlu gave a surprising answer. Ba Kame said, "Huh. Although Luofu Xianzhou is currently quite close to Yali Luo 6. But what people never expected was that Huanwu actually threw Tingyun into the Yali Luo 6. It's really shocking." Bo Chang began to ask questions. "Why did you throw Tingyun into Yali Luo 6? Because it is even more torture to throw a seriously injured patient on an indigenous planet to wait for death slowly. Do you still know the specific coordinates of the place you lost? Just throw it away, I don't know. Bo Chang. Huanhu should not be lying. Bo Chang could feel that in this situation, there was no need for her to lie. All right. Bo Chang sighed softly. Then he asked a few more questions about Ting Yun. Bo Chang directly exited the spiritual space, leaving Huanlong in the depths of the sea of consciousness. He was treated as a cow by Sanyuki several times in the early morning. Now Bo Chang does not have too many worldly desires, not to mention that Huanlong is only a ball of energy, and there is nothing to see. There is no need to toss in it. Huanlong's charming voice can still be barely heard. Bo Chang returned to the real world. Huanlong said, You are not trustworthy, why haven't you stopped yet? When did I promise you to stop? What's more, I don't know how to stop, so just bear with it for now. Bo Chang replied casually. So. Huanlong cursed in his mind while humming softly. Ignore the voice in his mind. Bo Chang touched the still wet sheets. It rained heavily outside and drizzled inside last night. Even after so long, the wet bed was not dry. I didn't waste my energy on those miscellaneous things. Bo Chang has made up his mind to go to Yellow 6 to look for Ting Yun. Now I finally got some news, it would be unreasonable not to go and look for it. Take out your mobile phone. Bo Chang sent a message in the group that he was going to Yellow 6. Then he told Pascal a few words. Bo Chang used the teleportation ring to contact Para, the intelligence officer of the Silver Main Iron Guard. The reply was still very fast. Not long after Bo Chang's request, Para agreed. With a dazzling white light, Bo Chang traveled a long distance. Came directly to Baloberg. It is now night here. The cold atmosphere is much weaker than before. Para was wearing a formal suit and sitting in the living room. Bo Chang appeared with the white light and said, Good evening, Para. Good evening, Bo Chang, what's the matter this time? Para, with a small round face, looked serious. The love option is turned on. I have the option of love in the starry sky. Author, Lao Cha Shugu. Chapter 224. Option 1, smiling, can't you come and play with Sister Pella when you have nothing to do? Completion reward, obtain random props, ranging from matches to star destroyers. Note, such props will. Option 2, seriously, I have something to do, I want you to find someone for me. Completion reward, high moral praise. You can consume a high moral praise at the fountain in the central square of Belloberg Administrative District. Salvage a treasure from a fountain. Note, such props will. Chapter 264 Looking for Ting Yun. Why is this kind of thing praised by high moral standards? Wait, that seems right. Being in a hurry to find someone is indeed worthy of lofty morality. Bo Chang took a deep breath, there is no need to rush to find someone. Just take this moment to tease Pella, option 1. Bo Chang smiled and said, can't you come and play with Sister Pella if you have nothing to do? Rewards are being distributed, congratulations on getting the props, a grenade, a very powerful high explosive grenade, and the ring explodes. No delay. Bo Chang was stunned. There is something about this grenade, it is simply a suicide weapon. But this thing is not suitable for Bo Chang. It should be of little use. One seat in the trash bin. When Pella heard what Bo Chang said, she pushed up her round glasses slightly and said, please stop joking, Mr. Bo Chang, since you came all the way here, there must be something wrong with you. The round-faced girl with a small brain was not distracted by the other party. Bo Chang also became serious. That's right, Pella, I want you to help me find someone. Bo Chang took out his cell phone and found Ting Yun's photo from the photo album. When I was with fake Ting Yun before. I took a lot of photos on March 7th. Just take it out now. Pella glanced at it, then frowned slightly. This man has animal ears on his head? There shouldn't be anyone like this in Baloberg, right? If you don't find it in the city, look for it outside the city. It is said that Tingyun was thrown on this planet. Please help. Bo Chang seriously asked Pella to take action. After all, a person's power has its limits. So Bo Chang must use the silver-maned iron guard to find Tingyun. Nowadays, the severe cold weather on Yali Logo 6 has faded a lot. With luck, Tingyun might still be alive. Pella thought about it. Okay, I have received your request. Now I will ask Lady Brynja for instructions as soon as possible, but I can't guarantee that I can find someone. After all, this planet is still very big. It doesn't matter, as long as you help look for it. By the way, when looking for it, remember to use the name of Luofu Immortal Boat and us, lest Tingyun dare not show up. Bo Chang added 2 more sentences. The words just fell here. Bo Chang's teleportation ring reacted, and he, who had been prepared for it, agreed directly. March 7th, Xing and Bai Lu appeared in Para's living room. The intelligence officer of the silver-maned iron guard's eyes widened slightly when he saw the little dragon girl. Act like you have never seen the world. Bai Lu, March, you are here too. Bo Chang was not surprised at all when he saw the 3 people arriving. After all, when he left Luofu Immortal Boat just now, Bo Chang specifically sent a message. Although he only asked Xing to come over for a visit, it was completely expected that March 7th and Bai Lu would come to join in the fun. As for why Xing was asked to come over, naturally, it was for the gray-haired girl to use the dog metal to find Xingyun. Xing has previously recorded the smell of stopping clouds. As long as the other party appears within 10 kilometers, it can be found accurately. March 7th put one hand on his hip and said, "You guy, why did you only let Xing come over? After what happened last night." March 7th's attitude towards Bo Chang seemed to have become a little worse. "Didn't I already explain it? In March, Xing used the dog metal to record the smell of Tingyun, so it would be most appropriate for her to find it." Bo Chang said it again. Of course March 7th knew that she was just looking for trouble, otherwise she would feel uncomfortable all over. "Okay, now I know." March 7th snorted. Perla was keenly aware that the relationship between these people seemed to have changed again, but this had no impact on her. "I'm just an ordinary intelligence officer, just do my own thing." After thinking about it for a while, Pella asked Bo Chang and the others to wait here while she ran to find Brynja alone. If Tingyun really appeared in Baloberg, want to find? It's definitely still very simple. Who makes Miss Fox's features too obvious? After Para left, Bai Lu walked to the window and said, "It's so magical to see the ring given by the messenger. It was daytime just now, but it turned into night in a flash. This planet is called Yali Logo 6, right? Can I come over to play in the future?" "I'll bring you over to play when I have time in the future," Bo Chang replied casually, and then looked at Xing. "Next, I'll ask Xing to come with me to the outside of Baloberg to look for Tingyun." Huan Huang did not throw Tingyun into a place that was completely unsuitable for survival. That would not be in line with the destruction aesthetics of this great lord of annihilation. And now, Yalilo 6. The only place where people can survive is near Baloberg. "What about me and Bai Lu?" March 7th asked. Bo Chang thought for a while. "In March, you and Bai Lu just have fun in Baloberg." Seeing the pink-haired girl's face darken slightly, Bo Chang continued, "Understand, in March, my cyber flying sword can only carry 2, 3, or even 4 people, and the speed will be much slower." Bo Chang's tone was sincere. On March 7th, at this time, there was no random thought. Okay, you go ahead. Bai Lu and I will help search in the city, but, Bo Chang, are you sure what Huan Long said is true? Could she be lying?" March 7 raised his doubts. After all, Luofu Immortal Boat is still some distance away from Yali Luo 6. It's normal to have such thoughts on March 7. Bakame said, she probably didn't lie to me. If she lied to me, I would continue to deal with her. Now Huanlu is still in my mind, yeah. Don't know how long it will last. Then go find him quickly. Tingyun's safety is important, don't waste time. March 7 waved her hands as if to shoo away flies. Bo Chang took out the cyber flying sword and the dog medal from his storage bag. Then let's go, March, Bai Lu, if you find anything in the city, remember to contact us. Okay, Bo Chang. Bai Lu nodded. The two then watched Bo Chang and Xing leave. Go outside the door. Bo Chang held Xing in one hand and grabbed the cyber flying sword in the other. When he was about to take off, he remembered something and said, by the way, Xing, are you wearing safety pants? Weird. Xing nodded seriously. As a girl who often fights, it is normal to wear safety pants, which can avoid a lot of exposure and the like. Bakame said, that's good, I'm going to fly, hold on tight. Star uses both hands hard. Then, the two of them soared into the sky and flew towards the outside of the city. What follows is a boring time of searching. Until dawn. Things took a turn for the better. The first ones to get the news about Tingyun were not Bo Chang and Xing, but the Silver Main Iron Guard. The target location is, Natasha's clinic in the lower area of Baloberg. Chapter 265 Miss Fox in wheelchair. Time passes. A few days later, Bo Chang came to the lower area of Baloberg again, Panyan town. It's much the same here as before. Not much has changed. Bo Chang has changed a lot, his strength has improved a lot, and his relationship with Xing and March Chi has also made new progress. Stopped in front of Natasha's clinic. Bo Chang met his old friend, 11ER. Her blue hair was not carefully taken care of, it was shawled casually, and the bunch of dull hair on the top of her head was raised. Makes you want to touch it? The girl in blue dress with cold eyes leaned against the wall, holding a blue scythe in her arms. I have the option of love in the starry sky. Author, Lao Cha Shugu. Chapter 225. When 11ER saw Bo Chang, she had no mood swings. Her tone was cold and she said, we meet again, Bo Chang. I thought it might take a long time for us to meet, but I didn't expect it to happen so soon. Come back to do some errands. Bo Chang looked up and down at the tall 11ER, I didn't expect to come back so soon, but, I'm quite happy to see you so energetic. Who is this? Xing has never seen Xie. Under Bo Chang's intervention, the train crew knew little about the lower class area. Xie, a member of the Earth Fire Organization, your name is Xing, right? I've seen your portrait. The blue-haired girl took the initiative to introduce her name. Star nodded. Bo Chang had no intention of continuing the pleasantries. He said directly, Xie, is Tingyun in there? If you mean the weird one with the ears and the tail, she's in there. 11ER is still so ruthless. Bo Chang didn't care. He led Xing past the blue-haired girl and entered the clinic. As a famous doctor in the lower class area. In Natasha's clinic. Patients are not uncommon. Sometimes Natasha is too busy by herself, and she has to ask Seal for help. Bo Chang had not gone far. Then he saw Tingyun sitting in a wheelchair. Miss Fox's body was fixed with many steel plates. She was sitting in a wheelchair and could not move at all. She felt miserable. When she saw her old friend coming, she burst into tears and said, my benefactor. After the previous conversation between Bakame and Huanlong, can clearly know. Tingyun was indeed switched while playing hide-and-seek with March 7 and others. Huanhao roughly threw it directly to Yali Luo 6. As a result, Tingyun was seriously injured. What happened next? Huanlu didn't know, and she wasn't in the mood to pay attention. Anyway, she couldn't have any impact on the overall situation. Long before Bo Chang and Xin came, March 7th and Bailu had already come down. But now there is only the pink-haired girl beside Ting Yun. Bailu is discussing medical skills with Natasha in the room, and is very busy now. March Chi, who was taking care of Ting Yun, turned around. You guys came quite quickly. Bo Chang ignored March 7th, but looked at Miss Fox and said, long time no see, Miss Ting Yun. We were worried when we learned that you had been transferred by Huanhu. Fortunately, you are fine. Finally, Bo Chang's big wish came to an end. Since breaking through the illusory conspiracy, Bo Chang has been thinking about his Miss Fox. Now that I see that the other party is fine, a big stone in my heart finally falls. March Chi was a little unhappy at being ignored. She narrowed her eyes slightly and decided to find an opportunity to show Bo Chang some color. He had already learned from Bailu and Yu Chi that the other party had been looking for his Ting Yun. I just feel something strange inside. Thank you so much for caring so much about the little girl. If you hadn't come to look for her, I'm afraid the little girl doesn't know when she will be able to return to the Luofu ferry boat. The fox ears on top of Ting Yun's head drooped, looking a little listless. Miss Fox is just an ordinary civil servant, living in a poor country like Yali Luo 6. If there are no accidents, the probability of Ting Yun returning to Luofu immortal boat is extremely low. Fortunately, something unexpected happened. The arrival of Bo Chang and others ignited Ting Yun's hope of returning home. Xin curiously asked, speaking of which, why are you here? That's it? Before Ting Yun could speak, Natasha walked out of the office next to her, followed behind her was a little dragon girl who was tasting white lotus. Apparently, that was the white lotus that Bo Chang left here. Although several days have passed, they are still brand new. Ting Yun was picked up by Sangbo from outside the city, so she was sent to me. Fortunately, she had the white petals you left behind, so she was able to recover so quickly. She looked miserable before. Natasha spread her hands and said. When he was first sent to the clinic, Ting Yun could only lie on the bed, even sitting up was a luxury. After several days of treatment, only then could Ting Yun be able to sit in a wheelchair. Sighing slightly, Bo Chang said, don't worry, Ting Yun, we have already helped you vent your anger. I have already heard about it, benefactor, thank you very much. Ting Yun answered politely. Bo Chang could tell from Miss Fox's tone. Feeling a little strange. Really? The time Ting Yun and Bo Chang spent together was too short, and those who stayed together for a long time were all Huan. Not really, Miss Fox. Ba Kame said, Ting Yun, when do you plan to return to Luofu immortal boat? Do you want to leave with us now? It is better to recuperate here now. Recuperate for a while first, and then we will come to pick you up. Leave directly, benefactor, I want to return to Luofu immortal boat to recuperate. Ting Yun said so. Compared to Yali Luo 6, the medical conditions in Luofu Xianzhou are much better. I've already caused a lot of trouble to Dr. Natasha, and I can't trouble her anymore. Xingyun wanted to turn around and look at Natasha next to her, but after a little effort, she gave up. Bo Chang said, okay. Are you leaving again now? Natasha suddenly spoke. This beautiful lady with green hair and red eyes stared at Bo Chang and others. Ting Yun said, when the little girl recovers from her injuries, please come here as a guest again. Dr. Natasha, the little girl will never forget your kindness, and she will definitely repay you in the future. If there is no Sambo, no Natasha, Ting Yun must be dead. How could he survive until now? It is a doctor's bounden duty to treat illnesses and save lives. Natasha shook her head. Miss Ting Yun knows that, and I don't ask for anything in return. Dr. Natasha. Ting Yun originally wanted to say something, but in the end he didn't say it. At the beginning, Tingyun did call Natasha his benefactor. Only Natasha didn't like the title. That's why Tingyun changed his name and became Dr. Natasha. Now Luofu Xianzhou thinks that Miss Tingyun has died. It's right for you to go back, otherwise there will be a funeral. March 7th scratched his head. As early as when Bo Chang and others were still looking for Tingyun on Yali Logo 6. Luofu Xianzhou has already begun to prepare for the funeral. Danhan, Walter Yang, and Zilawa were running around for this. Ba Kame said, Miss Tingyun will definitely shock everyone if she goes back now. Chapter 266 I hope everyone is okay. The whole body is fixed with many steel plates. Tingyun, who was wrapped in many bandages and had a neck brace on her neck, looked at Bo Chang with a speechless expression. If you can. Tingyun didn't want to scare everyone by going back in this way. Natasha took a step forward and said, Mr. Bo Chang, last time you left in a hurry, I couldn't thank you properly. This time, why don't you stay and have breakfast before leaving? I'm ready. All right. Bo Chang did not refuse. We have already known that the pioneering team is coming. Natasha ordered a table of sumptuous dishes in advance. Although it is not as delicious as the original one at Clipperberg, it still has a different style of the lower class. Bai Lu couldn't help but exclaimed when she tasted these dishes for the first time. 11ER, who was sitting at the same table, was unusually shy, and had a vague feeling of Bai 11. It made Uncle Dong couldn't help but take a second look. March Chi, who was sitting opposite, noticed the scene and kicked him lightly with her foot. What are you doing? Bo Chang knew who was kicking him without having to guess. So he immediately cast a doubtful look. March 7th turned her head slightly without any intention of speaking. Bo Chang had some enlightenment. In a blink of an eye, a bad idea came to mind. So Bo Chang glanced at 11ER again. The blue-haired girl was working hard, and the hair on her head was moving. She didn't notice the small theater here at all. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I have the option of Love in the Starry Sky. Author, Lao Cha Shugu. Chapter 226. March 7 kicked over. Bo Chang, who was prepared, grabbed her with his invisible hand, then stretched out his hand, took off her shoes, and gently tickled the solace of the pink-haired girl's feet through her short socks. March 7's feet were not very big. Bo Chang gently touched them, and the 5 round toes curled up. There was a table blocking them. Bo Chang was not worried that his actions would be seen by others. March 7's fair face suddenly turned red, looking very cute. Bo Chang kept playing with her, feeling the warm touch of her foot skin. March 7 did not say a word. Just endured silently. March, are you feeling unwell? Scene looked worried. March 7's body trembled slightly, and said, no. It's okay, maybe it's because of the reversal of day and night, and I can't adapt to it for a while, you don't have to worry about me. The daytime of Luofu Xianzhou. It was the night of Yali Logo 6. There is a basis for what Sanyuki said. It's just that. Scene keenly felt that the other party was hiding something from him. Since this morning, Sanyu seems to be a little strange. What happened? Did Ba Kame bully her? I always feel that the relationship between the two is a little strange. Scene tilted his head in confusion. Seeing the gray-haired girl's doubts, Ba Kame let Sanyuki go. The pink-haired girl was as if she had been pardoned. Tisk, it seems that after the relationship has become closer, it has become much more difficult to trigger the system again. Ba Kame muttered in his heart. In the past, I wanted to have some intimate actions with Sanyuki and seeing. 9 out of 10 options would be triggered. But not now. Maybe intimacy has become commonplace. Seeing can kiss and hug at will. Sanyuki. That is even more kind-hearted and repaying. Although the two have not yet broken the bottom line. But what they did. It may be more exciting than breaking the bottom line. Bo Chang's heart was slightly shaken. Fortunately, the illusion in his mind had subsided, otherwise it would have added fuel to the fire. Speaking of which, that electric eyes is really powerful. With just one skill, Huanlong screamed for several hours, and finally couldn't hold on and fainted. If he had enough energy. God knows how long Huanlong would scream in his mind. The electric eyes skill can't be used indiscriminately. Bo Chang tasted the food slowly. After thinking about it, Bo Chang was inexplicably worried about Sophia. I hope she's okay. After breakfast, the group returned to Tingyun. Bo Chang said, March, seeing, you and Tingyun go back first, I have a little thing to deal with in Baloberg. What little thing? March 7 frowned slightly. Bo Chang glanced at her and said, you don't have to worry about this. I want. Before Seeing finished speaking, Sanyuki covered her mouth and said, no, you don't want to. I want to stay in Baloberg to play. It seems quite interesting here. Bai Lu shook her tail. Sanyuki and Seeing's eyes were focused on the little dragon Loli, looking at her sincere eyes. The two of them were slightly shaken. Seeing reached out and rubbed the little dragon Loli's head. Okay, then Bai Lu will stay here with Bo Chang and Sanyuki, Tingyun, and I will go back to Luofu Xianzhou first. Sanyuki felt something was wrong. But thinking about it carefully, it didn't seem to matter much. So, Sanyuki said, you decide for yourself, I don't care, but, Bo Chang, don't play too long, Yukong Sijao invited us to attend the memorial service together. I know, don't worry. Bo Chang waved his hand casually. The relationship went a step further. There are advantages and disadvantages. If it were in the past, Sanyuki might not let Bakame run around easily at this time, and might choose to follow him. This is likely to cause a chain reaction. As a result, Seeing also did not leave. And now, Sanyuki seemed to be relieved a lot, maybe she thought she had squeezed Bakame dry. Watching Sanyuki, Seeing, and Tingyun disappear in a burst of white light. Bakame left with Bailu. Before leaving, he naturally said hello to Natasha and Xie. Bakame went straight to the mechanical settlement. Stayed in the lower area of Baloberg. Bakame was to give Clara a gift. At the beginning, he drew a super soft white stocking. Just gave it to Clara. It didn't take long. Bakame came to the mechanical settlement. There are quite a lot of changes here from before. There used to be a lot of wanderers living here, but now there are more people living here. Some people even built wooden houses. It seems that there is already a prototype of a small town. The reason for all this? It was because Swaro and the city builders opened the passage connecting the upper and lower areas. This made this place the only transportation link. As we all know, the economy lies in circulation. No matter where you are, as long as you are at the transportation link, they will all slowly become prosperous. It won't be long before a brand new town will appear near the mechanical settlement. Maybe Clara will become the mayor. Now Bo Chang and Bai Lu are walking on the road. They can hear some strange words about the Clara Protection Association. The little girl with silver hair and red eyes is very famous here. Maybe it's good luck. Bo Chang didn't walk for long before he found Clara, who was distributing supplies to a group of vagrants. Everyone lined up in an orderly manner. No one dared to make trouble. Chapter 267 Clara's Gift. There were no snowflakes falling from the sky. But there was a thick layer of white snow on the ground. You can hear crisp sounds when walking on it. Bo Chang and Bai Lu looked at Clara from a distance. The little dragon Loli tugged at his sleeve and said, "Is that the person you are looking for? Why doesn't she wear shoes?" Clara, who was barefoot, hadn't noticed the two people who had just arrived. But the vagrant noticed it? There was no way. Who made Bailu so eye-catching? Horns, tail. It doesn't look normal. The wanderers whispered, pointed, and said something incomprehensible. That's a good question. Bo Chang looked up at the sky. God knows why Clara doesn't wear shoes. Bo Chang had never asked before, how could he know? Bailu withdrew her gaze without getting an answer. Perhaps it was the wanderers' whispered discussion that caught Clara's attention. I have the option of love in the starry sky. Author, Lao Cha Shugu. Chapter 227. In short, Clara found Bakang and Bailu who were watching silently beside her. Her eyes paused on the two of them for a moment. Clara stopped distributing supplies and trotted to Bakang. Brother Bakang? Why are you in the lower area? I heard that you have left Baloberg. Something happened suddenly, so I came back. Bakang looked at the little girl with both feet on the snow. By the way, I have a gift for you. The love option is turned on. Option 1, take out Clara's bellyband completion reward, physical fitness increased by 100%. Option 2, take out super soft white stockings completion reward, approval of high morality, at the fountain location in the central square of the Baloberg Administrative District. You can consume a high moral approval to salvage the treasure in the fountain. Once note, this kind of prop will. Good guy, high morality again, right? Bakang silently complained in his heart. But this time he took out Clara's belly band. It was not Swarovski's big belly band. Instead, the physical fitness is improved by 100%. It should be because my relationship with Clara has improved a little that this change has occurred. When I took out the belly band before, Clara and I were not familiar with each other. It looks a bit like a welfare option. Bo Chang hesitated for a moment, and then decided on option 1. Reached out and dug in the storage bag. Bo Chang took out Clara's belly band. It's called a belly band. In fact, it's more like a piece of cloth, but it has the prototype of a belly band, which is only used to keep children out of the cold and cover their shame. Seeing the embroidered red belly band, Clara was stunned for a moment and said, This is not what I wore when I was a child, Brother Bo Chang. Why, this is in your hand. Facing the doubts of the little girl with silver hair and red eyes, Bo Chang did not reply. The reason is very simple. The system's voice sounded, and the familiar warm current flowed through the body. Bo Chang's physical fitness increased from 96 times to 192 times. Ah, cool. Now even if other Extinction Lords come, Bo Chang dared to wrestle his wrist. Even if he couldn't beat him, he shouldn't be beaten to death. Brother Bo Chang. Clara made a puzzled sound. Bailu just looked at Bo Chang silently, not knowing what he was doing. Coughed lightly. Bo Chang said, Sorry, I took the wrong one, this one should be it. Put away Clara's belly band. Bo Chang took out the super soft white stockings. Clara, this is my gift to you. At this time, Clara hadn't recovered yet. Wait, Brother Bo Chang, explain first, what happened just now? Clara didn't take the white stockings. Instead, she kept holding on to what happened just now. That belly band had always been kept in Clara's closet. Until not long ago. Clara found that her childhood clothes were missing. At that time, she didn't think much about it. Now that she saw the things in Bo Chang's hands, her little brain became active. It seems that this matter can't be fooled so easily. Bo Chang sighed in his heart. At this time, Bailu asked, Clara, that dress just now, is it yours? I'm not sure, but it looks very much like it. Clara's voice became smaller and smaller. About her underwear suddenly appearing in the hands of an adult male. This made Clara a little shy. To be honest. After being in the lower level area of Baloberg for so long, With Swarovski's teaching, Clara still knows a lot. Could it be that Brother Bakane stole mine, but why did he, could it be? Clara's little head was thinking about something that could not pass the review. Bailu put her hands on her hips and said, Bakane, don't you want to explain something? If I say that the dress just now was not Clara's, do you believe it? Bakane showed an awkward but polite smile. Clara blushed. Clara believes Brother Bakane. The little girl with silver hair and red eyes was shy, which was really pleasing to the eye. Skin whiter than snow. Silver hair and red cheeks complement each other. Bo Chang couldn't help but want to reach out and pinch Clara's watery little face. The romance option is turned on. Option 1, reach out and pinch Clara's face, completion reward, Yandera's gaze note, watch your back. Option 2, touch Bailu's little head and ask, where's Bailu? Completion reward, get a random item, from a match to a star destroyer. Note, this kind of item will. If Bailu wasn't around, I should be able to get it, what's the matter with getting it or not, I sound like a pervert. Bo Chang shook his head secretly, but, it's true that ordinary friends are more likely to trigger the romance option. 2 choices. There was almost nothing for Bo Chang to choose. Option 2. Make a decision. Bo Chang reached out and rubbed Bailu's little head, and asked, where is Bailu? This lady, forget it, Clara doesn't care anyway, just say whatever you want. Bailu changed the subject, I forgot to introduce myself just now, Clara, this lady's name is Bailu, and I'm Bo Chang's friend. Bailu, Clara remembers you. The little girl with silver hair and red eyes smiled. Then, Clara looked at Bailu with curiosity and said, is that a decoration on you? It's not a decoration, it's the symbol of the Dragon Lord of the Qi Ming clan. Bailu spread her hands to explain. Bo Chang said, Clara, Bailu is a guest from other places, although she looks no different from ordinary people, she actually belongs to the Dragon clan, and her horns and tail are real. There's one more thing. Clara, take this. Bo Chang forced the super soft white stockings into the other's hand. Chapter 268 Strange Feeling. Clara hesitated for a moment. In the end, she couldn't refuse Bo Chang's kindness. Bailu asked, Clara, why don't you wear shoes? Because I'm not used to wearing shoes, so. Clara lowered her head and looked at her feet. From childhood to adulthood, Clara has never worn shoes. Now asking her to wear them will cause some bad chain reactions. Bo Chang said, then you should wear stockings in the future. This is a good little prop, and it has an automatic cleaning function, which is very convenient. Well, Clara replied in a low voice. Regarding Bo Chang's taking out his underwear just now, Clara still felt a little bit upset, but, she didn't think of bringing it up again. Brother Bo Chang, have you had breakfast? If not, I'll go prepare it now. No, Clara, I'm going to take Bailu upstairs next, so I won't bother you. Bo Chang glanced around. There are still many vagrants waiting to receive supplies. No. No interruption, no interruption. The little loli with silver hair and red eyes waved her hands repeatedly. Clara is still very happy that Brother Bakane can come to see me. That's good. Bakane smiled. Then he touched Bailu's little head. Then we will leave first, Clara, see you later. Goodbye, Brother Bakane. Clara watched the two go away. Then she continued her work. As for Bakane and Bailu, they went directly to the upper area through the furnace core. Their destination was the central square of the Bailoberg administrative district. At the beginning, Bakane also received a high moral praise. Now it's just right to use it. With the mentality of an outing. I have the option of love in the starry sky. Author, Lao Cha Shugu. Chapter 228. Bo Chang took Bai Lu and walked slowly for a while. The news that the pioneering team appeared again in Belloberg also caused a commotion among the builders. When Bo Chang came to the central square of the administrative district, two people are standing here. Brynja Rand, and Paris Sergeyevna. Silver grey hair shawl. The appearance of Brynja and Silver Wolf. It can be said that they are very similar. The difference between the two is that one is a mature body and the other is in the growth stage. Silver Wolf still has a lot of room for development. He muttered something in his mind. Bo Chang looked at Pella. The two nodded to each other as a greeting. Speaking of which, this one is big and this one is small. The two girls standing together are quite eye-catching, and they have attracted a lot of attention standing here. Seeing the two of them, Bo Chang waved and said, "Miss Brynja, long time no see. In the name of the Great Guardian, I say hello to you, Mr. Bo Chang." Brynja answered seriously. Bo Chang paused for a moment and said, "Don't be so serious, just be more casual." "I see." Brynja nodded slightly. Bo Chang asked straight to the point. "Miss Brynja, are you and Pella here, doing something?" "I just planned to come over to see Mr. Bo Chang. I stopped by to ask, do you need me to help you order a few rooms?" Brynja's tone was neither humble nor arrogant. Ba Kame said, "There is no need to book a room. I can just take Bai Lu and wander around here. It won't be long, I will leave Belloberg. I still have things to deal with elsewhere." "That's it, Mr. Bo Chang, if you have time, welcome to Clipperberg as a guest." Brynja's eyes paused on Bai Lu for a moment, and then looked away. For this new guest, Brynja had seen it before. At that time, Bo Chang and Seen were still looking for traces of Tingyun outside Belloberg. Definitely next time." Bo Chang agreed wholeheartedly. Bai Lu tugged on his sleeve and said, "How about we go take a look now?" Previously at the dinner table, March 7 once said that the food at Clipperberg was delicious. Bai Lu was very curious. Anyway, the morning ceremony will only start tonight. Listen to the appeal of the little dragon girl. Bo Chang thought for a while and agreed, "Okay, then I'll listen to you, Miss Brynja. I brought Bai Lu to Clipper Castle at noon today. Let's have lunch and then sleep. How about a night's sleep and leaving at night?" "That's great, I'll get ready right now." Brynja smiled. Bo Chang said quickly, "By the way, no party or anything like that, just a few of us can have a simple meal. It would be quite troublesome if the scene gets bigger." To be honest, Brynja originally planned to have a big party. Let the city builders of Belloberg come and join in the fun. Unexpectedly, Bo Chang didn't like it. "Then we can only give up." Brynja stretched out her hand. "Since Mr. Bo Chang doesn't like parties, I'll just prepare it casually. I hope you won't find it objectionable." "I won't dislike it, don't worry." Bo Chang put his hands on his hips. Bai Lu raised her hands and cheered, "You can eat delicious food. Mr. Bo Chang, I'll take my leave now. If you need anything, please contact Pella directly." Brynja glanced at the round-faced girl next to her. Pella stood upright, she didn't speak, she just looked at Bo Chang quietly. "Okay, Miss Brynja." Bo Chang finished speaking. Brynja turned and left. The big duck wearing a silver-maned Iron Guard uniform has a very graceful figure, and a pair of beautiful black silk legs wearing black boots are also very charming, making people want to take a second look. Pella said, "Mr. Ba Kame, I will be your guide from now on." The round-faced girl pushed up her glasses. Bo Chang touched his chin. "Pella, there's no need to be so harsh. From now on, you can just call me Bo Chang. It feels weird to add a husband, or you can call me Brother Bo Chang." Perla. For a while, Pella didn't know what to say. Before, Bo Chang called Pella's sister, but now Pella is asked to call Bo Chang brother. It's really everyone's calling. Don't bother each other at all. Okay, it's just a joke, don't take it seriously. Bo Chang smiled. No more wasting time. Bo Chang stood next to the central fountain and directly used the appreciation of high morals. Rewards are being distributed. Congratulations on getting Jim Roger bread flavored soda. The stuff tastes pretty good. Take a sip and you can quickly restore your physical strength. Note, such props will. I drew this one, it's not bad. Bo Chang was secretly happy. Then, Bo Chang, Pella, and Bai Lu were wandering the streets of Baloberg. Until noon. A group of 3 people came to Clipper Castle. Brynja had already brought people to greet her at the door. And in a place that no one noticed. Kokolaya was watching Bo Chang silently, her eyes narrowed slightly, and she said, "That guy. For this man who beat himself up." Kokolaya was so impressed that she was tossing and turning at night many times. The emotion was indescribable. Kokolaya felt that she didn't hate Bo Chang. If the other party hadn't taken action, she would have committed an unforgivable mistake. But, why do you always think of him? Kokolaya doesn't know. He even invited Bo Chang to visit Clipper Castle this time. These are all instructions from Kokolaya. That's why Brynja went to invite. Nowadays, although Brynja is called the Great Guardian, after Kokolaya recovers, even if she retreats behind the scenes, she can influence the entire Baloberg to a certain extent. It feels like listening to politics behind the curtain. Brynja didn't have any dissatisfaction with this, or she still liked it. With Kokolaya taking charge, the burden on Brynja's shoulders is also much lighter. It's just that Kokolaya is often absent-minded. This made Brynja a little troubled. She didn't know what was going on with the other party. She tried many methods, but failed to completely restore the mental state of the former Great Guardian. But today, when Kokolaya asked Brynja to invite Bo Chang to visit Clipper Castle, she felt a little different from usual. Why is that? Brynja doesn't know. Conversation room. Bo Chang, Pella, and Bai Lu entered Clipper Castle. I saw several people disappear before my eyes. Kokolaya then turned around and left, returning to her room to prepare. On the other side, Bo often chatted and laughed with Brynja. Although Dayaya is just like 11 he feels like he is thousands of miles away. But when chatting, Brynja is still very good at talking. She can always find a suitable topic and will not let the atmosphere cool down. Bo Chang and Big Duck walked together and felt very comfortable. It would be great if Seal could talk as well as Brynja. What a pity. I had dinner at Natasha's clinic before. 11 almost said nothing and worked the whole time, no different from Bai Lu. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I have the option of Love in the Starry Sky. Author, Lao Cha Shugu. Chapter 229. Fortunately, there was a lively atmosphere at the dinner table. Under the gaze of a group of silver-maned iron guards, Bo Chang and others walked through the corridor. They came to the place where guests were entertained in Clipperberg. It was magnificent and decorated with various decorations. It looked very valuable and full of foreign style. Bai Lu, who came here for the first time, looked around. The whole room was magnificent. There were many servants standing beside. Although the technology here was not very good, the service was still very good. Bai Lu, who was well informed, was not timid. As the Dragon Lord of the Chiming clan, she was usually served by many people and had long been accustomed to it. Bo Chang was not used to this kind of scene. It was strange to think about eating under the watch of a group of people. So, Bo Chang said, "Miss Brynja, when we eat later, there won't be so many people standing around." "It doesn't matter, Mr. Bo Chang," Since you don't like it, then I'll just ask them to step back. Brnya waved her hand. You all can go out. There were 6 attendants in the room. 4 of them are actual squires, and the other 2 are silver-maned guards. Confront the Grand Guardian's orders. These people dare not disobey. After the attendants retreated outside the door, Kakalaya, who had been carefully dressed, walked out, her strange purple pupils flickering. Seeing this scene, Bo Chang thought in his mind, strange, didn't her eyes turn gray before? Could purple be her real pupil color? Chapter 269 Museum Owner. If Bo Chang remembers correctly, after Kakalaya was beaten violently by him, the eyes turned gray directly. What the hell, or is she wearing cosmetic contact lenses? Bo Chang didn't know, and he didn't want to find out more. He just looked at Kakalaya twice and then looked away. Speaking of which, they don't seem to be related by blood. When chatting with Dan Hung before, it seems that this matter was mentioned. Brnya is Kakalaya's adopted child, and the 2 are not related by blood. Of course, these 2 people don't look like they are related by blood. They look different. Kakalaya's clothes are still the same as before, a white and green dress, but the medal on her chest that symbolizes the Great Guardian has disappeared. That thing has been given to Brnya. As soon as they met, Kakalaya exchanged a few words with Bo Chang, and then at the invitation of the former Great Guardian, several people took their seats one by one. In Baloberg, the gap between the upper and lower areas is huge, which can also be seen in the diet. Especially Bo Chang and others are in Klipperberg. This place is the power center of Baloberg. Natasha prepared a breakfast carefully. Compared with the dishes here, it was inferior. Mr. Bakane, I wonder if you noticed the building being renovated in the Fountain Square when you were visiting Baloberg this morning. That is our Baloberg History and Culture Museum, which is undergoing a routine renovation every 10 years. After Kakalaya appeared, the person in charge of chatting with Bakane changed. Brnya just echoed from time to time. Did not take the initiative to speak. Regarding the History and Culture Museum mentioned by Kakalaya, Bakane had some impression. When Pero was taking them to play as a guide, he introduced it, but the museum was still under renovation, so he did not enter to visit. I noticed it. Is there any problem with that? Bakane stopped eating. I don't know why the other party brought this up. Bakane is not interested in history and culture museums. Danhan probably likes it. It is said that every time he arrives at a planet with civilization, he will collect all the information on it and enter it into the think tank one by one, sorting and classifying it. What he did is not like a guard at all. No problem. I just want to say, if possible, can Mr. Bakane be the curator of the museum? After all, the pioneering team has helped Baloberg so much. I've been thinking about it recently, and I still think it's better to give a little return gift. Kakalaya said a lot. For a while, Bakane didn't know what the other party was doing. Be the curator of the museum? I don't have the time. I'm busy exploring new worlds on the Starry Sky train every day. It's hard enough. There are also a few girls around me who want me to accompany them. Kakalaya seemed to have guessed Bakane's concerns. She said, Mr. Bakane, don't worry, you don't need to worry about the affairs of the museum. When the time comes, all will be handed over to Para and the other deputy curator. Of course, if Mr. Bakane has any instructions, the museum will do it. Kakalaya said so. Bakane understood that this guy wanted to make himself the nominal curator. Are you trying to tie me to Baloberg? Kakalaya, there's something. If it were me in the past, I would have agreed without hesitation. Shaking his head slightly, Bo Chang touched his chin and said, what benefits does becoming the owner of the museum bring to me? Of course there are benefits. Kakalaya smiled, her mature face showing a different light. Becoming the owner, the museum will become the private property of Mr. Bo Chang, and you can live there. In the villa at the back, you can count as having your own residence in Belloberg, and you can even charge a visiting fee. What do you think? Hear this. Brynja and Perla were a little uneasy. But, forced by Kokolaya's power, neither of them spoke. They just thought, Ms. Kokolaya must have deep meaning in doing this. It's better not to think too much about it. A residence. If I run to Belloberg from time to time, it would indeed be nice to have a residence. If you could have a house of your own. Bo Chang would certainly not be able to refuse. Now that I have said that, I would like to thank Lord Kokolaya for the gift. Heard this answer. The smile on Kokolaya's face became even brighter. This was the first time that Brynja saw her mother smiling so happily, and she was so frightened that she quickly took a sip of water. Shocked. Kokolaya replied, "No need to thank you, this is what Belloberg should do." Compared to Bo Chang, who was a little happy, Perla was not so happy. "Well, I already have enough work, but now the museum wants me to do it. Wait, if I take over this job, wouldn't I be able to provide better services? Children in class, especially those in lower class areas." Thinking about it this way, Pella suddenly felt motivated again. As a caring big sister, Perla cares about Belloberg's children and hopes they can receive a good education. That's why Para introduced the history of Belloberg to a group of children in the city. Eat and drink enough. The noon banquet is about to come to an end. Bo Chang's cell phone rang. When I opened it, I saw it was a message from a pink-haired girl. "March 7th, how long has it been and you still haven't come back?" Saw this message. Bo Chang felt inexplicably like the little sweet wife at home calling him to go back. Bai Lu stuck her head out and said, "Who is it?" "In March, she is urging us to go back." Bo Chang replied like this. Hear this. Everyone's eyes are focused. Kokolaya, Brynja, and Pella and Bailu. The former great guardian's breath paused for a moment. The little dragon Lolita said coquettishly, "No, no, I want to play here for a while longer." "Didn't you just say that you have to rest all afternoon before leaving?" "Well, it's really time to get some sleep," Bo Chang said. Yawned. Last night was due to March 7th. Bo Chang didn't get a good rest. Next, I ran to Belloberg to find Ting Yun, which took a long time. Bo Chang also felt a little tired. It's okay not to sleep. But now that you have formed a habit. Bo Chang still felt that it would be more comfortable to have a good sleep. Kokolaya stood up and said, "Since Mr. Bo Chang wants to rest, let's finish lunch first. There is a room in Clipper Castle. I will take you to there. Brynja, you and Pella go through the procedures for transferring it to the museum." After receiving such an order, Brynja and Para, who had already stopped moving, also stood up. Chapter 270 Prohibition of Large and Small Changes. I have the option of love in the starry sky. Author, Lao Cha Shugu. Chapter 230. Today, the sun is shining brightly in Belloberg. Since the core crisis was resolved, the global temperature has risen. There are more and more sunny days like this. Brynja and Perla walked out of Clipperberg together, and the golden sunlight sprinkled on their bodies, giving people a warm feeling. The two stopped. Brynja looked back, and countless thoughts arose in her mind, and then she destroyed them all. Thousands of thoughts did not affect her expression, and she still looked cold. The silver-maned iron guards guarding around did not look away. Perla said, "Miss Brynja, this time, Lord Kokolaya's appointment of the director was a bit too abrupt. No one was prepared at all. It may not be so easy to make the old director willingly abdicate. Be bold and do it. Take this opportunity. It's time to reorganize the team of city builders." Brynja's tone was cold. Since taking the position of the Great Guardian, Brynja has been committed to restoring the vitality of the entire Baloberg. All these actions, on the contrary, conflicted with the interests of some people within the city builders, resulting in poor implementation of government orders. The old owner of the Museum of Cultural History. He is also one of the opposing forces. It was only a matter of time before Brynja and the old owner confronted each other. A new official has 3 fires when he takes office. Now, Brynja will use the power of Bochang to start cutting into the city builders and eliminate dissidents. These people may have been the backbone of Kokolaya. Unfortunately, a new emperor has new ministers. If you can't keep up with Brynja's pace, you can only be eliminated by her. This must be the reason why Kokolaya gave the museum to Bochang. Brynja has completely guessed it. Para replied, I understand. On the other side, Bochang and Bailu, led by Kokolaya, entered a guest room in Clipper Castle. Miss Bailu, I'll take you to another guest room. Kokolaya, like Brynja, was wearing black boots, which made a clicking sound when she walked. He looked at her pair of plump and slender black silk legs. Bochang couldn't help thinking, if my feet sweat, it would be sour. The black boots went over the knees. They wrapped the thighs tightly, just like a perfect fermentation tank. Compared to a girl like Brynja, Kokolaya's legs were more fleshy. Of course, they were thick on the top and thin on the bottom. Her hips and breasts were bigger than Brynja's. Kokolaya didn't have any extra fat on her body, everything was just right. Through the tight clothes, these hard conditions could be felt very intuitively. I have to say, Kokolaya exudes the charm of a mature woman. Just like Heimko and Silva. Bochang hadn't looked at her carefully before. Now look at her. I also have a lot of feelings. The white skirt didn't have much of a covering effect. The front looked like a crotch cloth, and the back looked like a high and low swallowtail. Especially the tight black silk stockings torn near the waist and hips, revealing a large area of fair skin. Just as Bochang was quietly looking at the former great guardian, Bailu refused and said, no. I want to sleep with Bochang. As she said that, the little dragon lowly reached out and grabbed Bochang. She looked like she would not let go. This. Kokolaya looked embarrassed, this was not what she imagined. The love option has been opened. Option 1, let Bailu go to another room, completion reward, get a random skill. Option 2, let Bailu stay, completion reward, get a random prop, ranging from a match to a Star Destroyer node. This kind of prop will. The option has been triggered. Will different things happen if I let Bailu leave or stay? So should I let her leave or stay? It feels like something is going to happen. Since both options are rewards, Bochang can choose casually. He pondered for a moment. Bochang said, well, forget it, let Bailu stay. Option 2. Make a decision. Bochang said, let Bailu stay. Okay, then I'll leave first. If there's anything, Mr. Bochang can call me. Kokolaya said, turned around and left with some disappointment. Rewards are being distributed. Congratulations on getting the item, the immortal binding rope for enemies that can be seen by the naked eye. It can automatically search for the enemy and tie up the enemy node. This equipment has been stored in the system space and can be taken out and used at any time. Note 2, this equipment requires blood to recognize the owner. Immortal binding rope. I seem to have heard of this before, I didn't expect to be able to draw it. This one is not a loss. Bochang's mouth curled up slightly. Bailu tilted her head and said, what are you laughing at? Bochang was stunned, and then touched the head of the little dragon lowly. Nothing, I just remembered something happy, so I couldn't help myself. What happy thing? Bailu kept pursuing. Bochang had no intention of running all the way on this topic, and said, stop asking, go to bed early, I'm sleepy. Well. Seeing this, the little dragon lowly threw herself on the bed and patted the bed gently with her tail. This room is a room specially prepared by Kakalaya. The room is big and the bed is soft. Even if Bailu lies down, she won't feel uncomfortable. Luofu Xianzhou would not sleep on such a soft bed. As soon as Bo Chang sat down, the mattress sank. Instead of rushing to sleep, he took out his cell phone and took a look. I just sent a message to March 7th. Bo Chang wanted to see if the other party had replied. I haven't replied yet, maybe I fell asleep. Over there at Luofu Immortal Boat. It must be late at night now. Bo Chang put down his phone and rubbed his eyes. I just felt the mattress sink slightly. Bo Chang turned around. It was discovered that the body of the little Lolita from the Dragon Clan had grown bigger again. The exploding body couldn't be completely blocked by those small clothes. Bo Chang couldn't help but cover his eyes and said, "Bailu, please be normal, I'm scared." It was previously dominated by March 7th. I pushed hard all night. Although it was quite refreshing, Bo Chang still hadn't recovered yet. Seeing Bailu suddenly transform. This reaction is quite normal. I just want to transform. I have absolutely no other bad intentions. The duck is sitting on the white dew, fighting insects with both hands, showing an innocent look. I really feel sorry for him. You'd better. Bo Chang used his knife and hit Bailu on the head. It's forbidden to change the size here, and there will be no danger in the future. Without my permission, don't change yourself casually. This, I know this. Bailu covered her head. The body emits a burst of dazzling white light, and the originally bumpy body quickly shrinks. Turned into a three-no little Lolita. Seeing the situation, Bo ignored Bailu and lay down to sleep. The break passed quickly. Pity. Bo Chang hadn't rested for long. Kakalai rushed into the room and said, "It's something bad, Mr. Bo Chang." The antimatter army outside Baloberg suddenly revived. Chapter 271 The Resurrected Antimatter Legion. Bo Chang was startled by the sudden intrusion of Kakalaya. He sat up from the bed and pressed the soft sheets with one hand. For a while, I was still in a daze.